the Israelite National News Network.
Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yehusadek Nubin Dawid with the Israelite National News Network. Now, we have a situation where this Orville situation is continuing. It's been spilling over. I said it was at 80% capacity the last time I checked. And now we have a new situation at hand. They said a lot of this pressure has moved to Morgan Hill in Anderson Reservoir. Now, this is a big issue because now they're saying there's fears of a 7.2 earthquake striking on the Calaveras Fault. Now, why is this important? Well, if anybody had watched the movies San Andreas in 2012, I'm not saying that these movies is telling us what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not telling us what's going to happen. But what I am saying, there's some peculiar similarities to the situation and to those movies, especially San Andreas. Let's take a look at it. Now, with this situation, you have, let's point out some things. You have a situation where earthquake forecasting is now in effect, where someone has finally figured out how to predict and forecast earthquakes. This is the movie San Andreas. They're a group of two scientists, one Caucasian fellow, one Asian fella, and together they figure out how to predict earthquakes. And there's a scene where they're inside a dam. Now, this may not be one of the dams that are a danger here, but it's what it represents. Doesn't have to be the exact. You can tell an allegory does not have to have the exact same details. All it has to do is tell a story. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you all to pay attention to this. Let the Most High open your mind and put His thoughts in your heart. This is very interesting because they sense a few small earthquakes, which reminds me of what happened at reminds me of what's been happening at some of the dams lately. And then there was a large 7+ earthquake at this dam in the movie, which destroyed the dam, and it was a dam collapse. I want you to pay attention to this, because first there's dam trouble. No, first there's earthquake prediction and earthquake forecasting, which, why did I mention that before? Why is that important? Well, there's a guy on YouTube by the name of Dutchsinse. That's right, I said it. Dutchsinse. 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 He's been on YouTube for a while, almost 7 years now, or a little bit over that, something like that. And, the Most High blessed this man with the ability to figure out how to forecast earthquakes. Now, I don't know if he believes in a creator or not, but you got to understand, the Most High sends prophets in various ways. And I'm not calling this man a prophet, but David Wilkerson spoke of secular prophets. And these are people who basically the Most High sends to warn people in His loving kindness and mercy, even though they do not themselves believe in the Most High, because He is sending someone to the people that the people will believe. Somebody who is, I'll just say it like that, sending someone to the people who the people will believe, because they will not hear from the mouth of His real prophets sometimes. So He sends them someone secular to tell them information, sometimes from a scientific, legalistic, or whatever else it may be standpoint. And so this guy has been on YouTube for almost 7 years. He has found how to accurately, within 80%, accurately predict earthquakes or forecast them. And he has a video on how to forecast an earthquake. I've been watching his channel for a couple of years now, and I've recently, within the last year, I stopped for a while and recently got back to it. And it's important because the guy is very accurate, and it's because it's a science, and this is not of his own esteem. The Most High has given this gift to him, whether he refuses to believe that or not. So it's very simple. Deep earthquakes cause shallow earthquakes in adjacent silent areas, which travel around the world, go to cancellation spots, and then pop up on a deep earthquake spot, anywhere from the same magnitude to a magnitude larger. Deep earthquakes will cause magnitudes, shallow earthquakes, at least the same magnitude to maybe 2 magnitudes larger. Rarely 2.5 magnitudes larger, but most of the time 2 magnitudes larger. But that's not the point. He's proven this time and time again with hundreds. By this time, I don't know if he has 1,000 videos up. I don't know that, but hundreds of videos. So what's important is that, okay, you have someone who figures out how to predict earthquakes. That's the first thing you see in this scene. Someone who predicts earthquake forecasting. And secondly, you have a small earthquake at a dam. This all occurs at a dam in California. Then you have an over 7.0 earthquake hit. In the movie. Now, let's bring this to this situation. You have someone who has figured out earthquake forecasting. Now in California, all of a sudden there's trouble at all of these dams. Remember, it's an allegory. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It just has to carry the message. Now, you have trouble at all of these dams. And then earthquake swarms, or a couple of earthquakes here and there at a dam here and a dam, or at one of the dams. And now they're talking about potential for over a 7.0 earthquake. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying it will happen. Now, what I'm saying is that these are very interesting similarities, peculiar, that we need to pay attention to for a possibility. And we're talking about possibilities. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to be prepared than not. It's better to say, well, at least I was prepared, than to say, I wish I had prepared. Think about it. Very peculiar situation. Then, notice this is in the movie San Andreas, which is about the San Andreas fault going off. And not just the San Andreas fault, a whole bunch of faults went off in that movie. And it produced earthquakes over 9.0. One was 9.6. Catastrophic. Now, if you live in California, you should know about the shakeout, the California shakeout, which is already there are plenty of programs warning people in California to be prepared for the great one. It's going to hit. We don't know when, but it's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. It will hit, and sooner maybe than later. So be prepared. Here's my preparation cue for you. Get out of California. Now, Dutchsinse, extremely intelligent individual, among many on YouTube, a lot of intelligent people on YouTube, unknown people. Most High blesses his children with intellectual gifts. I'm not saying Dutch is a child of the Most High. I'm saying he blesses his creation with very precious gifts. And he does not believe, I'm not sure if he believes that California can, Dutchsinse believes that California can fall into the sea, or at least a large portion, because he has particular theories about subduction zones which have recently been verified by modern science. And they're very well founded, some of them. However, I would beg to differ about California possibly falling into the sea, or a large portion thereof. And I would beseech everyone else to reconsider this. And I would say to him, listen, brother, I think you should reconsider your opinion and redo the research, relook at it, because it is very certain that parts of California will probably, I would almost say definitely, maybe even fall into the sea if a large enough earthquake hit. How do we know this? Not by science. Well, the old science did verify that this was possible. New science is saying different, but science has always been wrong from time to time. We're saying this from something that's greater than science, the one who made science. Science is knowledge, the one who made knowledge, and wisdom, and understanding. Yahuwah is his name. What is his son's name? Yahushua, the Mashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ. Others call it Yeshua. Others call Isa, Yahushua, Yahusha, etc. The man who died on the cross for our sins, who is the living word of the Most High. Now this is very important, people, because there have been many people he has sent to warn of the great California and West Coast earthquakes and tsunamis, which are soon to be at hand. They are imminent. I do not know when they are going to hit, but they will hit soon, within years, possibly within years. I was never given a timeline, but I and many others have been warning about these quakes, and parts of California may very well fall into the sea. I think they will. They will fall into the sea. Capernaum, for the city that is called by the name of the angels, you exalt yourselves up to heaven, but you will be brought down to hell, resting at the bottom of the sea. Those are the words of William Branham, quoting Matthew chapter 12, if I'm not mistaken. And he said that the Most High gave him extra to that nowadays that also is referring to Los Angeles, the city that calls itself by the name of the Angels. Los Angeles, the Angels. Get out of California. Because if these movies are right, they gotta warn you. If they're right, the big one is about to hit very soon. You don't know when. So get out of Dodge. Dutchsinse is great at what he does. And I implore you all, if you're in California, to look into it. However, he's not being shown everything. Even he admits that they take data away all the time. They hide data. They won't report it. And he can only report what he sees. And if there are classified instruments which they have data, they are not allowed to report. Maybe they already know how to predict earthquakes, and they were trying to deter him from figuring it out. Why then would they also say that the big one is coming? Do they know something that they're not sharing? with him or any of us? With us? Any of us? I think you need to pay attention and watch. The great California and West Coast earthquakes and tsunamis are imminent. They are at hand, even at the door. When they will hit, I do not know, but I know for certain they are soon, and parts of California will, very likely, I would almost say definitely, fall into the ocean. With other witnesses, William Branham and Joe, what is his name? Young guy who had a dream in 1937. He was 17. I think his name was Joe Brants. Joe Brants. Brandts. Joe Brants. He had a dream. He fell off a horse, had a concussion, was in the hospital, and he had a continuous dream where he would wake up and then go back to sleep, and the dream would continue each time he did that. And he saw California tilting toward the sea, large portions of it, at least Los Angeles, and destruction around the globe. And he saw a couple of months ahead of time volcanic activity in Venezuela or somewhere in South America, and many other issues akin all over the United States, all over the world. So be prepared. A storm is coming. You need to be prepared. I love you, no matter who you are. Your brother Yehusadek Ubendui. Much love from Yahuwah himself, the Most High himself, and his son Yahushua Mashiach. Shalom. He sends his prophets to show his love. I love you, family. Shalom.